Hey everyone, welcome back to the FloTrack podcast. I'm Kevin Selly, joined by Gordon Mack on a Monday morning here in Austin, Texas. Just a few days from the NCAA Indoor Championships where you're hitting the road again.
Yes, back to Albuquerque we go. Hopefully it looks the same since you'd last been there. What, you were there like 2 weeks ago?
A month ago
For
Yeah.
USA's. We leave, when do we leave? We leave Thursday?
We leave Thursday, press conference Thursday afternoon, and then meet on Friday and Saturday.
Then back home on Sunday.
Yes, exactly. We're going to talk more about that probably
Later in the
tomorrow, the next day. You and I are going to do this again. Lincoln's out of town, so there's going to be a lot of Kevin and Gordon episodes.
Yes.
So we need to pace ourselves.
We do.
So that's why this podcast is only going to be about 3 minutes.
Yes.
And then
I think let's wrap that up. All right, and that's your Monday recap.
Guys, it's been great. We have an email address, FloTrack, went old school there, FloTrackPodcast at gmail.com. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. We got 2 emails that I want to read.
Oh.
Yeah, on this episode. We'll do those.
Emailing.
Yeah, we'll do those later. It's picking up steam. Remember, FloTrack Podcast. We got one about Oregon's DMR.
Send us your memes. That's what I want to see.
Well, the other one is about sexy alpha flies.
Ooh.
I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
So we got 2. It's building off your idea about Halloween costumes. So people are listening. People are writing in. Last weekend, a bit slower with indoor pretty much wrapped except for NCAAs. Week after the trials. Big story, I guess, U.S. 15K champs. And there was some off-the-track stuff with Jarrion Lawson winning his appeal, being reinstated 19 months after he was suspended from the sport. We have another Caster Semenya update.
Lots of things.
Yeah.
For a weekend that not much happened. I mean, it was the weekend of NAIA, JUCO.
Yep.
The ECAC, IC4A, a lot of letters.
Do you have any letter championship highlights from any of those meets?
I did read about how at the NAIA, 2 women scored like 70 points because they did like quintuples.
They pulled the Wildland Jonathas.
Well, they also had like what's cool about the NAIA is they do like a 600 national championship, a 1K.
Okay.
So that's cool. I think, a lot of D1 conference championships do like off event in their conference meet.
Yeah.
It would be cool if NCAAs did like a 600, a 1K, throwing a 4x8. And I think if they did that, it would make it, the strategy would be more there because if you're an 800-meter runner,
Yeah.
you would think, oh, maybe I should go to the 6 or to go to the 1K or the mile. You'd just be able to, like, strategize. It would be coaching involved because you can't run every event.
Yeah.
You don't really need to think as a coach. You're a good 800-meter runner. You're top 16. You're running this event. There's really no strategy except for, like, maybe a year when Ed Cheserek has to decide if he's going to run the 5K or the DMR or something like that. In that case, he just ran both because he's Ed Cheserek. But I think that it would be interesting, and I was talking with someone, we're talking about, like, who would advantage, and I think a team like Oregon would all of a sudden be able to score a lot more points. What other teams do you think would love it if there was a 600 and a 1K and a 4x8 added to the meet? It would hurt sprint schools.
Yeah, mid-distance heavy schools.
Yeah.
Although, I mean,
like would like a
Texas A&M though,
they would probably do better.
And they have so many 400-meter runners. They could stretch them up to the 600 perhaps. And 800 guys like Dixon could probably run the 1,000 and going back to Jasmine Frey before and Sammy Watson. So you need obviously a lot of strength in the mid-distance long sprints.
Because it would be all of a sudden then you have like, and it would help distance schools for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Penn State during their prime would be like looking good.
Yeah.
Like maybe like one of those like northeastern schools, like a Georgetown, Villanova type, when they're like
Va Tech a few years ago.
Virginia Tech Virginia Tech probably could have won that meet in 2000 when they won. What year was that?
2018.
2018. If they had a 600 and a 1K and a 4x8, that's a lot more points they would have got.
Yeah, Gorley, Sietti, and Joseph. That was a stacked team. Yeah, on the women's side, I guess. You look at who's doing well in the DMR, right?
Yeah,
and that would be a good.
BYU probably could score a lot more points.
Yes.
Yeah, it would be interesting. They're not going to do it obviously, but why do we do certain events and not others? Like, why do we do a distance medley relay?
And not a 4x8. Yeah, we talked about that before.
Or not eat anything. Like, why do they don't do it outdoors, so why do they do it indoors?
Yeah, 600 indoors makes more sense because, 3 laps.
Yeah.
Just go and do it. So there should be a 1-lap race, a 2-lap race, a 3-lap race, and a 4-lap race.
Yeah. And just call the lap. Like, oh, I won the 1 lap championship. What'd you? Oh, I'm a 2-lap champion.
You're 1 lap champion from Arkansas. So that was your highlight of the weekend. I like it.
Yeah, well, seeing that, like, scored 70 points at NAIA. Obviously, the level of competition is a little lower, so it's easier to double and triple, and that would probably never happen at D1 level, but...
Well, that's what I thought when Jonathan won at Amherst, and then she immediately moved over to NCAA and did it, and then she moved over internationally and got 4th. So,
and then other things I thought about outside of that was my Sixers lost to the Golden State Warriors without any of their best players.
Yeah.
Draymond Green or Curry didn't even play. So
oh, really?
It was a sad day for a Philadelphian.
We're not talking about basketball anymore.
But the Flyers have won 9 in a row. So
there you
I'm
go.
I'm on the Flyer train now.
I've always been more of a hockey guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Than a basketball
We all
guy.
been all hockey guys at heart, right?
Merrill Hall won the U.S. 15K champs.
Yes.
I think that was she beats Natasha Rogers by almost a minute. Natasha Rogers has been running really well. She won U.S. Cross.
What's the story with her leaving and then coming back, and then leaving and then coming back again?
Natasha Rogers or Mary Hall?
Mary Hall. No, Rogers.
Rogers?
Didn't she retire?
I think our own Joe Battaglia is going to have a story about that coming out soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We'll check that out on the site.
You didn't even know you're doing a tease.
There you go.
I actually don't know all the specifics, so I wasn't being coy. I think this is a significant result for Hall because we've seen how tough we talked about the ripple effect, the domino effect of Sisson and Huddle not making it in the marathon team and how hard that 10,000 team is going to be to make. So Hall lays a marker down there.
Is it significant? Come on, dude.
Yeah, it is.
She didn't beat anyone.
No, it's significant. Well, she did what she's supposed to do. She beat that field by a minute. I'm just saying she's not going to be a pushover.
Yeah, but...
I'm not saying she's going to win. I'm just saying she's got a good chance at making that team. And then that 10,000 team is going to make... I'm very interested in that 10,000 team. And by default, I'm very interested in that 5,000 team as well, too. Because we've grown accustomed to, in the past, it's kind of like, okay, who gets in the 5? Who gets in the marathon? Let's figure it out. But they're very coveted spots. I'll say that this year. Because the marathon spots are already taken, and the 5,000 spots are ridiculously hard to get now.
Yes.
So the 10,000 is getting squeezed.
I know, but yes, I guess technically you didn't lose, so that should be a good thing. But
One by a minute. Gwen Jorgensen, who said she wants to
okay.
go for the
I don't know.
down
Eden
there,
Meyer,
26.
that's an Erica Kemp and Natasha Rogers, who's been in it. I just think if there was Sisson second in that race, obviously it's not because she's in trials.
Yeah.
But then I'll be like, ooh, okay. But
all I'm saying is
she could have just done
Molly
that.
Seidel made the Olympic team, so I don't count anybody out anymore.
Okay.
So you're saying these names as if we're just supposed to discount them.
I just in general, I hate all road championship races.
Yeah, I get that.
Because there's too many of them. They all are watered down. They don't mean anything.
I'm just saying she's fit right now. I mean, you can look at that and say Merrill Hall is fit right now. That's all I'm saying with that one. Men's side of things, a lot more controversial. Ridwain Harufi won it.
The great Ridwain Harufi.
38 years old. He served a doping ban for EPO from, was it 20? Let me look this up. 2013.
People still do EPO.
Well, yeah, they do. That's not going away, I guess. 2013 to 2015. Got his U.S. citizenship recently. Ran in the marathon trials. Made it to 20 miles. And then dropped out. This obviously was not well received by the running community for him to win a U.S. title, being a former, doper.
Yeah. Well, being upset about it, nothing's going to change.
It's tough.
You can scream all you want, but
True. And it, from what I've read so far, it's tough. USATF doesn't really if someone's eligible to compete, they have to let them compete. That's the rules. So I don't blame USATF for this situation. You see a lot of calls all the time for lifetime bans, which they seem simple in theory, but in practice they're very difficult. Ross Tucker's written about that. If you raise the burden of basically giving someone the death penalty, then what could also happen is you're going to get a lot of people who are either going to get it or they're going to get off completely, right? And it will, when you do away with the 2 and the 4 year bans, it lessens those incremental charges because the burden of proof then needs to be so high because drug testing isn't perfect.
Yeah.
There are false positives, so it would raise the threshold that much higher. But yeah, this is one of those situations where I know a lot of people are looking at, what about other industries where people cheat? But I just say, well, what about other sports, right? Like other sports, it's much more lenient, right?
Yeah.
World Marathon Majors, I guess, is a little tighter, right? They don't, once you get a doping ban, you're pretty much not getting invited back. But then we get into the situation, remember, I don't know if you remember this, when Merritt came back from his suspension and certain meets didn't want to let him compete, and then it was this drawn-out process, and then eventually he got back in, wasn't allowed to compete. I guess if you're saying EPO is different because, as you said, people are still doing EPO, that seems to be one of the more clear-cut situations, but it's so tough to slice this up. Oh, this drug you're going to be banned for life for. Like, legally it's tough to have like one blanket policy. So
yeah, I mean,
it would have been a complete disaster PR-wise if he got a marathon spot. That's one thing, right? Winning the 15K champs, obviously people don't like it, but it would have been completely nuts if this guy, who, had you heard of him before?
No, but it gives people a way to tweet out their fun little tweet with the word #CleanSport and make them feel good about themselves afterwards.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're, I know, but if you're,
I mean,
don't you empathize a little bit with people who are like, hey, that person shouldn't be in there and they cost me money?
Yeah, but it's a reality we live in. Like, we can't just pretend that we can just scream and then
it goes away.
It goes away. Like,
yeah.
it's so life isn't fair, right? And it's unfair that this guy who cheated get to still go, right? Because technically you cheated, you shouldn't be able to keep on going. That's unfair. But unfortunately, we live in a society where life is not fair, and we just have to deal with the shitty situation. Yeah. And I think complaining about it, the idea is oh, well, if you complain about it, if you protest enough, if you tweet about it, if you use this hashtag long enough, people are going to listen up, and then they're going to take action and change their rules. It's no, they're not. It's just
so you're saying you think they need to work more behind the scenes to actually get the rule changed if they feel strongly about it, or it needs to be... Because I guess on the other side of things, you could say, well, look, because of the burden of proof needing to be so high, there shouldn't be the situation, right? Or even that there should be a path for people to come back into the sport at a certain point, right?
Well, everyone just thinks life is simple, and it's simple as you pee in a cup and it triggers a certain number, and then all of a sudden, all right, banned for life, and let's just live that world. And it's okay, well,
it's interesting to see the reaction to him versus the reaction to Gatlin, right? Because if you're for lifetime bans for this gentleman, then you would have been also for lifetime bans.
Well, the people who are against this guy are probably against Gatlin too. It's also the distance community is very different. It's a different relationship with doping and lifetime bans in the sprint community. And I just think that it makes people love. I mean, this is anti. People don't want to admit this, but people actually like it when this happens because it gives them a way to complain to the man, take it to the man, and it's the U.S. 15K champs. It's not the Olympic final,
right?
But also at the same time, it gets old, man. We're beating the same drum. We're beating the same drum about this Moroccan turned American EPO. It's a perfect formula. Foreign-born man come to the States, taking a spot, did it via cheating, dropped out of the trials, was it's just man, I've just heard this movie I've seen this movie over and over again, and it's okay, we get it, and it does suck for Frank Laura who got second. He lost by a second. And it does suck for the person who was one spot out of prize money.
Yeah.
I get it, but it sucked before they got on the starting line because it's not well. You can't complaining about it after he wins isn't
you're saying he shouldn't be there in the first place.
Yeah, so then then why don't you tweet out something negative about him there before the race starts?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm guessing they would. You sort of hope it just kind of goes away, just like at the marathon.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't. To be honest, I don't think this is a guy who's fast enough to have made the marathon team, right? So there's no wonder he dropped out. At that point. But it's track always sort of has this idea of they're in these sticky situations and they're one or two results away from it being a complete
disaster.
Yeah. And for far different reasons. This is a completely different example. I'm not saying it's analogous in any way other than what the outcome would have been, but Pistorius.
Yeah.
If he would have won Diamond Leagues and started winning races.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's what Semenya. That's what that was, and then they decided to take the the band person, and like, again, I get it. You cheat, you should pay your punishment, you know, and
what
people disagree on the length of the punishment.
Well, what do you think? Like, what is there any punishment? You put on your fan hat right now. Putting on Gordon's fan hat right now. What would you like to see, just as a fan, a punishment be?
Ooh, I have an idea. I just thought of something.
Okay, but I want your real thing, not the thing that you just thought of, because I'm worried about whatever that is.
Well, I do think there should. I don't believe in a lifetime ban. I do believe that
because of redemption, or because of like the legal things I'm talking about.
Both.
Okay.
I do believe though there should be like strike and you're out. Like you get like you only get forgiven like three. Say three. I don't know the number. It could be
2 or 3. Whatever.
2 or 3.
Okay.
I do think then it should trigger to lifetime because it's like you haven't learned.
Yeah, you got to pay the money back, or what do you have to? You're only allowed a certain number of races. Like, what is there a punishment that you could create if you're the track commissioner here?
I mean, one idea would be like if you are in the post-ban running world, you have to, for the first. So say you get banned, right? 4-year ban. The first 4 years post-ban, you can't win prize money.
Okay.
You can win races, but you don't get the prize money. And every race you go in, all the prize money just shifts down one.
Shifts down one? Okay. I like that.
Because then the argument is like, they're taking our prize money. All right, we'll take that off the prize. They're not. They're an unattached athlete. You know, it's like they're not affecting the team score.
Yeah.
Right? And then I think that would make people, because then they're just affecting the color of your medal you get. There's no like.
Well, you can shift the medals down too. You just basically say like, this person, yes, legally they're allowed to run.
Yeah.
But we are not entitled. I guess then there would be law. I mean, this is sort of the merit thing, though, right? Like, you can't deprive a person a chance to make a living, right?
Yeah. Well, a sponsor can give them money.
Yeah. I guess you say, put the onus on the sponsor.
Yeah, if they want, like, hey, man, like, we're going to, you know, and then maybe, you know, I don't have a perfect solution, but I just know the solution isn't lifetime ban right away, because Jarrion Lawson, perfect case. He would be lifetime banned right now.
Yeah.
Ozzie Wilson would be lifetime banned.
Yeah.
All the people who celebrate Ozzie Wilson are probably the same people who are upset about this.
Yeah. Well, I guess the argument would be then they still get an appeals process, and like, because Lawson got off the appeals process, but look how long that appeal process took. 19 months.
Yeah.
Guy didn't compete for 19 months, and then Kaz finally cleared him.
But lifetime ban also means Christian Coleman's now lifetime banned, right?
Well, I think the proponents of lifetime bans would be like...
Veronica McNeil's lifetime banned?
It's only for like...
I just go on and on, right? All these people would be just gone from the sport.
Yeah. I'm saying what they... Just play devil's advocate.
Brianna Williams would be lifetime banned?
And I don't... I think they would be referring more to like these specific, like, not missed tests, but... I mean, I don't want to speak for them, but I think they'd be like...
No, man, if you miss a test, you are game in the system, lifetime banned.
Well, that's the thing, right? Everybody want to use it when it's like the perfect crime. It's like never... It's rarely the perfect crime, right? Yeah. Everything is much more complicated than that. So yeah, you bring up good points there.
It's like that. Have you ever seen that Parks and Recs?
I have seen a lot of Parks and Rec.
Where the character from... Or maybe it wasn't Parks and Rec. I think it was Parks and Rec. The character from Portlandia.
Okay.
Who was that guy? The actor? He's a drummer.
Fred Armisen.
Fred Armisen. He's like, go to jail, right to jail.
Yeah.
And he just lists off all these things like, sneeze, go to jail. That's what people like. You know.
No, I get it.
False start, bam.
Go to jail. Yeah. I mean, it's just.
Again, my take is unpopular, right? It's not popular to believe that, you know, to not be upset about EPO guy winning. Yeah. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm not gonna get upset about reality. Like, this is the reality we're in. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, there's rules. These are the rules that were created. Yeah. And being upset about a rule, he's not breaking a rule right now.
Right. He broke one before.
And
he served
because he broke, he went into a protocol. For that rule broke, and now he's in this protocol.
You're a big fan of rules.
People just want him to like self-ban himself.
Out
of guilt. Yeah. I mean, and I'm just like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's not how the society works. Man.
Yeah. It's...
People can't do just because you want someone to do something doesn't mean they're going to do it.
Well, and like I've said before, it's just like you have to sort of if you're gonna apply the whole idea of, well, if this was any other industry, then we wouldn't allow them back because they would have burned this bridge. But also, if this was any other industry, you'd afford them like all the steps of due process, right? And there are such thing as you plead to a lesser sentence, right? If I think you should get a lifetime ban. Okay, well I didn't do it. I think I should have no ban. Okay, let's compromise for 2 years. Oh, okay, and then you move on. Like it's how you keep. I don't know if you're talking about this in the context of the criminal justice system. That's how the criminal justice system keeps working and keeps flowing for all of its flaws. But yeah, since it is the 15K, it's not going to get as much attention, obviously, as it would if it was the marathon. I think there'd be even more pushback if it was a marathon trial spot. But again, he's not good enough to be. That problem solves itself, I guess. But I don't know what you like. People ripping on USATF about it. Like number one, it's just not their call. You know what I mean? It's like there's nothing.
They can't legally.
There's nothing. And if if you do that, like people would push back then because if you empower a governing body to take this step, you're giving them power to do other things that I don't think people would necessarily be comfortable with, right?
Yeah.
And I think the rule is created even when we don't like the outcome of the rule. Not to say that I agree with you 100%, but like even when we don't like the outcome of the rule, like it's everybody signs on and agrees to the rule at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
You enter a sport knowing these are the rules. Yes, you probably want the rules to change, and you probably can fight for change. It's a part of our society, right? People can fight for change.
Yeah.
But tweeting #CleanSport isn't really fighting for change, in my opinion. It's just
I just think it's interesting.
Virtue signaling.
Yeah. Well, it's
always
make
themselves feel good.
It's always just interesting to see like track's relationship with this versus other sports relationships with it. Cycling probably the next closest, but like, I mean, look at Von Miller in the NFL. Like, doesn't he gets nominated for like awards like the next year back after serving a doping ban? UFC fighters are they serve their time and then they come back.
I mean, I think it has to do with the amount of money in our sport is so low compared to those. Where when Von Miller gets banned,
he's not depriving.
You're not depriving another player like.
I think it's a difference.
As much money.
Individual versus team sport, too, right? I mean, Maria Sharapova got dinged a little bit for the whole meldonium thing, but that just became so widespread that I don't think. And it's so easy to attach performance enhancement to clear, visible signs of performance in track and field, as opposed to like in a sport like tennis, where it's like, well, it's a lot of it's hand-eye coordination. Doesn't have anything to do with endurance. It's like track and field's like speed, power, endurance. Like that's all of it. So someone looks at it and they say, okay, well, this person took drugs and then they went from here to here, like game over. Like that's exactly why they got better. Yeah. And the numbers, right? Just like baseball, it's like a numbers-obsessed sport.
I did read somewhere or see something, I don't know, but it would be cool if like the burden of, I mean, the World Athletics would never do this and USATF would never do this because it would cost them a lot of money.
Yeah.
But every time someone is deemed banned, every prize money that they got, the governing body that gave out that prize money needs to take that money and reallocate it to the next positions.
Because people have said, the person who got banned needs to give the money back.
But
they don't have the money.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's been spent.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm thinking of Rita Jeptu, who won 1 million marathons for Kenya. It's like, pay the money back and then we'll let you in. It's like, I think that money's gone. Like $500,000 here, $500,000 there. Like, no, I think that's an interesting idea because then I guess it ups the incentive for them to catch people who are cheating, right? Like that's the idea. Don't let the people into the race in the first place.
Yeah.
If you think that they're cheating. It's track's so like fragmented and stuff too. You see, like this meet director.
But at the same time, though, doing that now that I think about it, if all of a sudden Usain Bolt got popped, they're not gonna be like, that's gonna cost us a lot of money.
So if $1 billion.
If like you were going to pay back all his prize money.
You take an insurance policy out.
But you know what I mean? Like, because then they'll be more hesitant to like announce people who are banned because they're gonna want to. Hey man, we can't ban this person because we would then owe everyone $1 billion. Yeah,
I think like it sucks that it's part of everyday, like every industry. This sucks that there's people who are like gonna break the rules. But I think we need to be careful and not go so far and create a policy that makes it like puts it on innocent people who didn't do anything to suffer consequences too, right? Like any industry you're in, people are cheating, right? And you want to get those people out because it devalues the work of the people who are really trying. But at the same time, you don't want to create a scenario where there's like fear around, an idea of someone being innocent and getting
Yeah.
popped too, right? Which is what could, I mean, that could legitimately happen in these situations, right? Like,
Yeah.
someone could get, if you have a lifetime ban, someone could get a lifetime ban who was subject to not, didn't have due process or had a false positive or something like that, because those things are actually real, and we don't know.
Or there'd be like a young kid who just puts all of his trust in his coach, and the coach says, "Oh, it's good," and you could argue, you're responsible for everything you put in your body. When I'm like, well, the kids also like can like sometimes you need to learn that like not everyone has your best interest.
Yeah.
And like as a result, now you're just going to ban that kid for life. This is like like a Brianna Williams situation where she probably was trusting someone with the cold medicine she was taking or whatever, and then
trusting the medicine.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. It's like this policy is like if you do lifetime bans, it's a definite outcome for a system that's like has flaws. Right.
Yeah.
It's pretending that the system is flawless when there's so many things that could go wrong because we live in the real world where stuff goes sideways like that. So, I mean, with Lawson, tainted beef, he said he's not going to eat beef that much anymore, switch completely to chicken. They tried to
go straight vegan.
I mean, that was a crazy story. He tried to track down the supply chain of the beef, but then they're like, I don't know if we want to tell you like where we got this beef from. Like he had the receipts and stuff from the place where he ate in Fayetteville. Like, I mean, just a wild story. Just a wild story in general. But
how did he have to deal with the 19-month situation, but AJ Wilson didn't?
That's a good question. I mean, I know that the substance was different.
Okay.
I mean, they were both steroids in beef, but I don't know if that made the difference or if that was other part of the case. But what you said is exactly the point, right?
Yeah.
With like, how do you treat all these cases? I don't know. I guess the whole idea of like a system, it's like you'd rather have you'd rather have a guilty person go free than an innocent person face consequences, right? That's like how kind of our system is supposed to work outside of sports, and I think that's kind of what's been transported into sports. Now, you may dislike that and disagree with it, but I don't know. It's tough to justify. Well, we got all these dopers, and we also got this one person who literally did nothing wrong and can't compete. Like, how do you explain that? Right? Yeah. You can explain the other stuff of like, oh, this person cheated, like they're terrible, they ruined this moment. But all the other stuff,
it's all fine and gravy until it comes for you. Right?
Exactly, and I don't think people think that far ahead. They think just in the short term of like this person as opposed to the system. This is to transition to a different topic, like on shoes, right? Like the same thing. It's like you can just outwardly ban, but the law of unintended consequences exists for a reason. Like you just don't know where that's going to lead. So that's why it's a good idea to make a policy that's clear-eyed and like stick to it, even when it's not popular. And this certainly is a case where it wasn't popular.
Yeah, the whole shoe thing. I'm sorry. I think
talk about shoes again. I don't know if we'll talk about shoes again.
I saw an article. Let's Run wrote an article. Like, it's official. Shoes have ruined the sport.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Get off your freaking sanctimonious high horse. Like, ruin the sport. It's okay. Like, I would never say this phrase, but that's like that's like the perfect thing to say. Okay, boomer. Like, that's just like the perfect use of that response. I don't use that response because I think it's a stupid response to anything.
I yelled that at the TV during the Olympic trials when Tim Hutchings did his little monologue.
Yeah, I didn't. What's your thought?
He had like a minute-long thing where they had both of them talk. Hutchings first said why the shoes sucked, and then Masbach, wearing a Nike shirt, said why it was okay. And Hutchings was basically telling people not to be happy about PRs that they get in them because they don't count. So I just muttered, "Okay, boomer," and I think the person in front of me might have gotten half a laugh out of him.
But like, there's like multiple. I read the article. There was like I was trying to see how he would justify the fact that 8 of the top 10 women weren't wearing Nikes.
Yeah.
And he justified it by saying it's because they were so much that they were better than the rest of the field. So therefore, their results don't count. Like, and I didn't really understand how that had anything to do with the shoes. I was like, you're just selectively picking situations and deciding like, this is definitive proof that shoes mean anything. First of all, Americans, no one wants to admit it, but Americans have not been, male Americans have not been good at the marathon.
Yeah.
We suck at the marathon.
Rup's been good, Meb's been good, but depth, yes.
We suck.
Jared Ward got 6th at the Olympics. That's pretty good.
Yeah. At Olympics where everyone gets only
by and large.
At the Olympics where everyone gets only send 3 per country. Yeah. That's a big thing. Like,
no, I agree. I'm just pointing out a few exceptions. I agree with you on the whole. Like, very few guys
the
break
number
210.
of Japanese athletes who are better than American men is astounding. And like, why?
Time-wise,
yeah. It's ridiculous.
Got that medal, man.
But it's ridiculous how much the 5th best American time. Okay, take out like leading into this.
No, I get you.
Would rank 100th in Japan.
Yeah, I get you. We got that bronze though.
But like, why is that? And the reason why, one is Japan puts a lot more emphasis in
road running,
and Americans put their emphasis in track.
Yeah,
that's the main reason. We put all of our time and energy. We don't go to the marathon as quickly as they do. They're like, that's the real reason. And once Americans start running well, like, because when everyone ran 210, they all hit the standard, which wasn't going to be a big deal in the first place. Everyone freaking out
today.
No, and everyone's like, oh, it's because the shoes were running faster now, and shoes this, shoes that, shoes that. I'm like, sorry, but no, it's not. Like, yeah, shoe is going to help that random 230 person run 227 or 225, and we can freak out about it. But shoes is not why Galen Rupp is good. Mm-hmm. Shoes is not why Jake Raleigh got 2nd. Mm-hmm. Shoes is not why... Leonard Career is... like, how many world teams in 10K?
Couple, I think, yeah.
And he lost to Jake Riley.
Yeah.
Right? But they both are wearing the shoes.
Well, Jake Riley's wearing the Alpha Flies, but yeah, they both are wearing... don't yell at me, man. It's a small booth. Don't yell at me.
But, like...
I get what you're saying.
Jake Riley beat Leonard Career because he had a better day that day.
Yes,
and he had the talent baseline, and he had a better day. Not because he put on freaking 2 pairs of material wrapped around his feet that happened to help him. Not get blisters.
Yeah, I think if you had
shoes are, I just hate the whole shoe thing.
Yeah. You should have been in Atlanta. You'd have loved it. I think
stupid. It's all like everyone is literally just like. Like, Nike is laughing to the bank.
Oh, yeah.
And we're all just letting it. We are being everyone's... And they don't even know it. They don't even know that we're just like...
Look.
Nike is just... Whoever came up with the Nike Vaporfly shoe is the smartest man in the history of running because he tricked everyone into promoting them.
I think they definitely help. I mean, obviously all the lab tests show that they help. But if you had the take that... What was the thing? That they're ruining running or they ruin the results? It's tough to look at those results and come to that conclusion. There could have been a result where you came some woman whose BR was 236 or something, right? And she was running Alpha Flies and she won. But instead you got Alfine Tulimuckenhokas, Molly Seidel and Saucony's. Sally Kipyego, yes, she was running next % on Alpha Flies. So maybe you swap...
no, Sally Kipyego is an Olympian and was very good at running.
Right.
Not really good at picking the type of shoes she wore before she got on the starting line.
Yeah, then you go to the men's side of things. Rupp was going to do Rupp no matter what.
Rupp would have won in Birkenstocks.
Yeah. You have Riley, who was a 210 guy, good marathoner, good collegiate runner. And then you have Abdi, who's made a million teams.
He's experienced.
Jared Ward was never in the race, right? He had a bad day. Scott Fauble ran 212.
Yeah, Scott Fauble and Jared Ward did not have bad days because of their shoes.
Right.
They had bad days because people have bad days.
And they also had good shoes too, right? Like the Brooks guy, the Hanson's Brooks guy, Kevin Hansen, tweeted out a month before the race, if we lose, it's not because of our shoes. Brooks gives us good equipment. Just laid it out there, which is what a sponsor's supposed to say, but it also sets the competitive balance of look, get the shoe that can't be in their head when they're running, right? Brooks had a carbon fiber plate. It may not be perfect or as exact as Nike's or as good. Saucony had one, New Balance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just if you had that take going in and then you saw the results and how the races played out, you have to really work hard to get to the conclusion of that article.
Especially with the women's race. Yeah. It's it was literally I was very angry. No one was saying it is unfair in 2016 that Galen Rupp got to run with multiple hat changes and slits in his kit. That helped him beat everyone because he had the unfair advantage of perfect apparel attire.
Yeah.
It gave him that extra 2% of, because remember everyone's talking
Or
about
in Boston when it was raining with a jacket, if you had a really good jacket
Yeah.
that day.
Really good
protects you from the
jacket.
wind,
Man.
kept you warm, because otherwise, Rupp obviously didn't. He got hypothermia.
Yeah.
So,
I
I hear you. And I just think, if you look at that race in isolation, if you couldn't enjoy that, and in and of itself, as like a fan of running, without immediately jumping to like all the shoe stuff, then I feel like you were going in just looking for a shoe take.
What ultimately pissed me off is the headline said the phrase, "It's official. Here's my opinion." It's like, I'm sorry, but opinions are not official. You can't say the word official and opinion in the same sentence.
You'll get the chance to yell at him in person in Albuquerque.
It's so stupid. I'm sorry, but like, you were looking for a conclusion. You wrote an article with knowing the ending, without writing an article and then coming to an ending.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what bothered me.
Well, and that's why I think there could have been a scenario where you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, right? Like at the marathon trials, if
a bunch of hobby joggers finish in the top 10.
Well, if Jake Riley runs 2:06 or something, right?
Yeah.
Like or like they're just so far and away, and it literally does like make you think, oh man, this race is crazy. But yeah, makes them better. There's those other shoes that are better. Are Nike's a little bit better? Sure. Were Nike's a little bit better 10 years ago? I don't know. We didn't really pay that much attention to this stuff. Were Adidas a little bit better when they had the Boost foam and came out, and there was a little bit of gap? Like there's always going to be a gap.
And no one also wants to talk about like the person who is wearing the shoes.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and that's what I asked like Lyndon and Sisson before the race. I was like, are you getting sick of this? Like you have to like shill for your sponsor, but you also can't shill so hard that you're like devaluing what you do.
Yeah.
Oh, the only reason I made the Olympic team is because these shoes. I suck, but these shoes are great. Lyndon, I haven't talked to her since, but immediately after the race, she didn't bring up a single thing about shoes.
The only way I would be able to believe this is if we could create a time machine where we could give everyone the inverse shoe. So give Rupp, fucking
New Balance.
I don't know, New Balance.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to curse. But give him like just something.
Too late.
Not even New Balance. Give him like freaking shape ups.
Okay.
And see if things change.
Yeah.
But we can never do that.
I think Rupp's gonna win that regardless.
Yes.
I think he's proved it enough time and time again that he's better than everybody. I think Tuliamuk was better than everybody. I think Seidel had an amazing race. And again, I'll posit this theory to you. What if Mama Seidel was wearing Vaporflies? I would not be able to log on to twitter.com on my phone. Kipyego, yeah. She'd run... silver medalist on the track. But her first marathon, which was November 2016, I don't know what shoes she was wearing, but it was November 2016, so I don't know if they were super duper fancy shoes. She got second in New York City. And she beat Molly Huddle. I guess that was the first marathon she finished. She made a DNF before that. But she's always been a great runner. That's what she does.
Yeah.
And
same with Seidel. She
Yeah.
was good in college.
Yeah. But she didn't imagine how fast she'd been if she wore the Alpha Flies. And the whole idea of like the Vaporflies are 4% and then the Alpha Flies are up to 7 or 8%. They've done that in the lab, and I guess for some people, but there are a lot of people not wearing Alpha Flies. So there's something about that shoe that isn't perfect for everybody, right? Yes, Rupp wore them, but Abdi didn't, Kipyego didn't. There are a lot of men who, in that top like 20, who just wore the next percent and did not wear the Alpha Flies.
Can we talk here's the thing. What's today's date?
March 9th.
It's March 9th, Monday, in the morning.
Yeah.
We will now never, ever speak of marathon shoes again from this point
That's
forward.
going to be really hard to do.
No matter what.
I respect your commitment.
I'm doing that.
You're going to do it?
If I'm ever in a podcast and you bring it up, I'm going to respond with Chuck Norris quote and just like
you brought it up today without even me mentioning.
I know.
Like,
I'm regretting it.
You had some shoe takes.
It triggered the inner part of me of my anger towards people just like promoting Nike left and right and not even playing right into their hands.
Well, that was evident from the jump, right? Because the whole idea is to sell the shoe to the masses, and the masses does not care if it's fair for the pro athletes because this company has this prototype and this company. They don't care about that. They see, oh my goodness, this shoe's like makes you faster.
And the guy said it's official.
Yeah.
And he's not even paid by Nike.
Yeah.
And he wrote the word official.
Yeah. All caps.
Oh, I don't know. It was someone who calls their opinions official. Just come on.
I'm gonna start doing that.
You need to simmer down a bit. Your opinions are not official.
Simmer down. What are we at on terms
All
of
right.
time? What's left?
Who cares about time? We need to talk about Caster Semenya. We talked about her.
Oh, yeah. Here's a Nick Sicardi tweet.
Yeah, what's the tweet?
Caster Semenya, quote, and he's quoting a South African news outlet, has been spotted practicing block starts, end quote, and ran a 200 in 23.81 seconds on Saturday, according to South African media. The Olympic 200-meter qualifying standard is 22.80, and no South African has run that since 2008. That's surprising. South African woman, I think he's missing there, because Wade Van Niekerk definitely sub 22.80. Come on, Nick. Get your stats right, dude.
Is that a good move for her? 200 versus 5K?
First of all, I just love this. Has been spotted practicing block starts. There's just somebody
Who's spotting that?
in the bushes with binoculars. No, but there's no good option here. I mean, it's less like, physically it probably takes less of a. Well, I don't know. 200 training is pretty hard. I'm just thinking, if you can run a pretty good 400, to go down to 200. Versus you run a good 1,500 and then you have to go all the way up to 5,000 or you have to learn how to hurdle.
Think she's just like lazy and be like, I don't want to do 12 and a half laps. I'm just going to do half a lap.
No, she's probably
get my Olympic.
She's probably gamed it out and thought, 20. Just dropped second. That's a lot of time.
Yeah. That's
a lot of time.
Also, the field in the 200 is always kind of weak.
Well,
because a lot of...
I think a medal's off the table.
But like, in general, though, like, to make a 200 final,
yeah,
I feel like might be a lot easier than a 5K final. And the reason why is because a lot of the best 200 runners either run the 100 and then scratch the 200, or they're 400 base and they don't bother doing the 200. Like, I mean...
I'd be surprised if she was thinking that far ahead.
If you look at the World Championship outdoor 200-meter final... Like, what was the PR of the 8th best woman in that field?
Oh, yeah. That final was crazy.
Right?
It was completely insane.
And it happened in the men's side, too, in 2017.
Happens every year.
Happens every year. Yeah. Like, when the Turkey guy won.
Ramo Guliev in there. Dream Richards got a bronze. I mean, there's been Curtis Mitchell, I remember a couple years ago, got a bronze.
Yeah.
I think that is thinking a little bit too far ahead. If she is gaming it out that far, more power to her.
Yeah.
I think she's just more looking at it from like a training perspective of like, okay, I don't need to do crazy things with mileage. I can just maybe fine tune some things. I'm guessing she's.
Well, here's a question:
Is she more of a speed based 800 runner, or because it's like she's good at the 4 and the 15, so it's like you kind of don't know.
Well, here's the thing, also, like, how hard is it for a distance runner to become a sprinter? Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe she was never like a pure distance runner, though, right? I mean, if she can run, she ran the quarter 50.
Actually, now that I think about it, like, we're not going to different like workout Wednesdays trips and stuff like that, and seeing some like mid distance people run some 200s.
Yeah.
Like Kaz Loxam could run a fast 200.
Yeah.
In his time, and not, like now he can't run Noah Lyles type 200s, obviously.
Yeah.
But when you have 45 second speed, 44 second speed, and you're an 800 meter runner, you can run some fast like.
What's her
200s?
Yeah. I'm looking up what her 200s.
But at the same time, I'm not sure if you can run elite sprinter fast. So that's the thing.
I mean, she's run 49.62.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what I think she's looking at. I think she's seeing that, and she's like, okay, 49.62. That can convert down pretty quickly. Whereas like, you go in the 1,500, 359. We talked about before. Yeah, that converts to like a really really fast 5,000, but. For some reason, that just seems harder to go from 15 to 5 than it does from 4 down to 2.
Yeah. But the only difference, though, going from 4 to 2, that is some, like, just...
Block starts,
becomes
maybe.
Talent. Like, just, like, raw, like, muscle, fast twitch, slow twitch, all that stuff. Like, not to that extreme, but, like, there's something about a sprinter's true talent. Like,
yes. But, I mean, 49.62 are... I mean... I think if you look at the 200 PRs of people who have run 49.62, I think a lot of them are going to be under 22.80, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that just seems sort of like obvious. But again, she's coming at the 400 from an extreme distance perspective, right? Like, it's just she was so good at so many things. How crazy is this, by the way, that we're talking about this? Like, if you had told me in the year 2016 Yeah, in 2020, you guys are talking about Caster Semenya, the 200-meter runner. I'd be like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
And it'll be because of all this stuff. Right after talking about shoes for half an hour.
Shoes, which we never would have thought of.
And
Jarrion Lawson.
hashtag clean sport.
And Dwayne Harufi. Leave the hashtags alone, man. You're gonna start.
I don't know.
You're gonna start using hashtags one day, and you're gonna be like.
I regret making.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring.
Hashtag
Yeah, it's like Gordon does.
Hashtag. Man.
You have so many Sixers.
Put in a hashtag that solves the problem.
You have so many Sixers hashtags.
Final topic.
Yeah, let's do one more topic. So Semenya, we think. I say ditch the blocks.
Ooh, yeah.
Just straight up.
Do it.
Try to negotiate with World Athletics. Be like, look, all right, you don't want me in your events, that's fine. I'll run the 200, but I got a flying start.
And I'm going to run them in alpha flies.
She starts 30 meters back, and then as soon as she crosses the line, gun goes
It'll be like the arena football where the wide receiver gets a running start.
Exactly. Okay, World Indoors was supposed to be this weekend.
It was.
Got canceled a long time ago.
Did not get canceled. It got postponed a whole year.
I call it canceled. If it's postponed for a year, it's canceled. We saw World Half get canceled because of coronavirus. We're gonna transport ourselves into a world that doesn't exist, one in which World Indoors is happening.
Whoa.
What would we be talking about this week?
I mean, we were talking about coronavirus.
Okay, no. Let me try that again. We're gonna transport ourselves into a world
where coronavirus isn't happening.
Right, and then there's no... And World Championships are happening. Indoor Championships are happening.
What are we talking about?
Yes, that was my question.
We're going to be talking about, whoa, isn't it crazy that Chalimo and Lamong didn't both qualify for the World Championships because Lamong ran at UW?
Oh, okay, I get it. I get you.
Okay, so we're also going way back because we're assuming
we're
Lamong,
altering all of space and time.
Now, but that changes. Then do we have that Instagram beef? We probably don't get the Instagram beef because then Lamong and Chalimo race head-to-head at USA's and they just settle it. And there's no, like, could've, would've.
Shows up in a DeLorean.
We don't have a whole podcast topic.
That's true. We maybe don't even start the podcast.
We probably don't start because it's like we have no beef to talk about. The beef will be settled in February of 2020. We don't have to wait till the Olympic trials.
Okay, so let's go back. Let's stretch the truth even more.
Okay, stretch the truth even more.
Because I think a lot of people weren't going to go to China anyway because it was so far away. And it was like an Olympic year and it's already into March, blah, blah, blah.
I don't believe that, though.
I asked some people.
In 2012.
I asked people that agree with me. Confirmed my opinion.
No, what happened in 2012? Didn't they all go to Poland or something like that? Where was 2012 Worlds? Indoors.
You might be right. It might have been Poland. What was
No, the 14 was Poland. 12 was like some random place.
Yeah.
And like Rupp went, Legat went, they all went, I think.
Was it in Doha?
No, it was indoors.
No, I know Doha's hosted indoors.
Really? They have an indoor?
It's official. I'm right about this.
Okay.
People were not
gonna go.
All caps.
I think people say that though. And
okay, let's say it was in Portland. Just say it was in Portland.
Okay.
Again. You're right. I think Lamong runs it. So we'd be getting Lamong, Chalimo. The beef would have simmered because we wouldn't have had this latest Instagram
sizzling. It would have been like on low heat.
But they would not have forgotten last year. So we talk about that. We talk about Christian Coleman world record potentially, right?
Would Ingebrigtsens be running?
Of course. I think they'd be running. We're talking about Schweizer's like medal throw?
We have Hassan. We'd actually get to see Hassan race indoors.
That's true. Would Schweizer and them have run at BU in the last chance meet as a tune-up, or would they not have raced?
No, we probably wouldn't get the American record.
Okay, so there's no American record. What else?
Ronnie Baker finally races a meet that matters.
He runs against Coleman, but kind of, I guess it would probably be similar to 2018, right?
Yeah.
Where he runs a really historically fast time, but Coleman beats him.
You get Grant Holloway getting a medal. He wins he beat a world title.
Okay, would he have run it? So,
yeah, he would have.
Okay. Brazier.
He would not.
World record?
Does he win? Or does he get DQ'd? Do we have another DQ Olympics?
He avenges himself from Birmingham.
He got DQ'd in 2018?
Yeah. Cut in too early. Yeah, everybody got DQ'd. So yeah, probably everybody gets DQ'd and none of this counts. That was so much fun though.
Yeah, whenever I got DQ'd, I was there. Being in the mix zone during the DQ Olympics, it was fun because we would all be like, once it started to become a thing, like everyone would be the first one to report that there was DQ'd. Yeah. So it was more about waiting for the next DQ than waiting for the next race.
And then having to tell people.
Yeah, and want to break the news. Oh, I got another DQ.
Sorry.
And I remember I got to break the DQ news to a lot of the mixed zone people. It was fun. Because they had like the little thing.
The athletes or the media members?
To the media members.
Okay.
And I would like refresh it. I'll be like, refresh. DQ! Guys, DQ!
Yeah.
And I'll be like...
I mean, breaking to the athlete, that's a high level. Where you're like, hey, congrats, but did you know...
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. I mean...
I still remember how awkward it was in 2012 when...
Or in 2016?
No, 2012 when Jenna Batarmo was up at the press conference thing. And they asked, hey, it says, like, you're finished behind Felix. And everyone was like, what? Little did we know there'd be a week-long... Or they said, oh, you're in a dead heat.
Well, I remember NBC breaking the news at Chalima that he got DQ'd after he thought he won silver.
That was
awkward.
I mean, he technically was DQ'd, and then he got back in. Yeah, Brazier, running fast. I mean, Engels was... I mean, I don't know if Central would have run indoors. Probably not, but maybe... Because... Oh, no, Engels got beat. Engels got third. He didn't get second.
Does Thompson get the standard? He probably doesn't get the standard in the 15 because he probably goes
and gets the gold.
He doesn't go and get the gold.
Undefeated. Josh Thompson's undefeated. I don't want to hear anybody say since whenever he started winning. Someone posted on Instagram or Twitter or something about his win streak. He's got a mini Bryce Hoppel streak.
Oh, really? How far back? Well, I guess before trials.
I think it's since USA's last year.
Yeah.
I could look it up.
How many races has he run?
It's like 7 or something like that. It's not
including like prelims and stuff.
It's not bad. It's not a bad streak. Yeah.
Not a bad streak. All right, we'll bring up this Josh Thompson streak.
Yeah, it's a good streak. I'm trying to think of what else. Like AJ Wilson would probably be.
We're just saying names right
Get
now.
a goal.
What's the purpose? We're just talking.
We're talking about storylines that would have happened. This is fun. It's a great what if. I mean, you're talking about American records that literally would not have happened.
All right, let's get this. Okay, so he's won 3 in a row
this year, and then the end of last year, he won. So he won after USA's. He won 4, 5, and then he also ran this one 6. So he's won 6 in a row. Right?
Yeah.
Yep, 6 in a row. No, I'm saying AJ Wilson would have been obviously the clear favorite for the gold.
Josh Thompson's 27.
Would have got a chance to avenge some that outdoor loss for Wilson. And Houlihan would have been coming. Well, I guess BU never happened, right? So she would have just try to go for the double. But against Hassan, like you mentioned, Hassan would probably be there. It'd be cool.
It would be cool, but
Jarrion.
you would be happy because then you could fill your void of NCAA sprints aren't good and replace it with these world championship events.
I mean, mid-distance is the best part of indoor. I think everybody agrees, right? From like 800 to like 3K. Anything above 3K, it's like, it's too long. And anything below, it's just like, this doesn't matter as much indoor.
But you could also argue that mid-distance indoor isn't also fun either because, like, I mean...
Well, it's better than the alternative is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, would you rather watch an indoor 60 or an indoor 800? If Coleman's not running.
I guess I'll watch indoor 800, but the problem is a lot of times the indoor 800 champion is not the best runner.
Well, we don't care about that. I mean, the Sixers may not be the best team this year, but they can win the title.
That's true.
I mean,
we do care about that.
Yeah. So it's just, it's whoever's the best on the day. Holloway gold, that's interesting.
Dana Roberts would actually run.
Yeah, would Dana Roberts be racing? It'd be a good question. I would have been interested to know how much Bowerman raced. Just in general. Like, would they have still...
I think they would have gone.
Yeah.
But they would have to spread themselves out,
a lot of spots, yeah.
Because they only get 4 spots.
Yeah, you put Grace in the 800.
I guess they would drop Grace to the 8.
Yeah, and then the mile would have been Shelby and Quigley, and then the 3K would have been Shelby and...
Or would they... But would they rather, like, say Vanessa got 3rd...
Oh, and bump her in
the 3K, would they
was she, though?
go individually?
What?
I don't know. Didn't they go 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that?
Yeah, they had. I just don't remember who. Oh no, it was Quigley.
Yeah.
You'd have to go. You'd have to get multiple scratches to get to.
Yeah, but I think they would. Wouldn't they? I think that would make sense. Like, hey, let's have 6 Bowerman women or like 5 Bowerman women go instead of 4, if we can.
Just increase the odds. It is a short meet too, right? Like,
yeah.
So you're gonna have not a lot of turnover or not a lot of turnaround between those two. Let me look up these USA results. I like this. I'm proud of myself for coming up with this amazing
this topic idea.
Yeah.
Just click on it. Just click on the.
Click on the end. Yeah. Shout out to Tilstapaja here.
Tilstapaja. No one knows how to spell it, but my Google autocorrect does.
So you're saying in the 3,000?
Yeah.
Purrier would have got it.
So Frazier didn't get it.
Yeah, so I think they would have done Shelby and Carissa. But in the Ma, it was Shelby clearly. Yeah. No, Frazier had the big breakout at BU. Maybe she would have stayed. You know.
Yeah, she would have.
Everybody would have gone to get ready for Nanjing, and she would have just crushed it at BU. But Coco not being there might have been. Actually, she was in kind of a different race. Coco ran 14:30.
Yeah,
so
she did.
That was nuts. All right, those are our hypotheticals. Let me use the emails here. Got 2 emails. How much time do we have?
I'm not going to tell you. Just go.
Okay, Chris writes in Oregon DMR. They have a better 800 runner than Charlie Hunter. Freshman Luis Peralta ran 1:48.10 at BU, number 9 seed in the 800. I'd guess West and the 400 runner Peralta at Tier. I'm surprised Tier isn't running the 5,000. A couple weeks ago, I would have guessed their Friday night lineup at Nationals would be Tier in the 5,000, then DMR of Hunter, Peralta, West.
Yeah, because he could have got more points, but maybe Tier's like, I want to be on that DMR.
Yeah.
I think that could have been a...
Who do you think they do it? Who do you think they put in at 8? Peralta or
I think they're going to put in... I think Hunter will be a 12. I think it's going to be between West... Well, I think it's going to be all based on, like, how they feel after the mile prelim. Whoever feels gassed most won't run. But Peralta is asking a lot from him to run 2 800s back-to-back as a freshman.
Yeah.
Because he's in the 800 prelims.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be Hunter and West. I think Peralta is going to only just focus on the 8.
Okay.
That's what I think. Yes, on like his PR is fast, but like can a freshman run back-to-back 800s within an hour of each other or 2 hours of each other? Like, whereas I think a strength person like West, who's a 8th year senior, can do that.
I'm all for James West after that ridiculous DQ that they called him on. You're going to see me wearing a jersey in Albuquerque.
Free James West.
Free James West. Here's one from Luke. Ready? Vamping on Gordon's sexy coronavirus costume idea. I think the next big Halloween costume will be sexy alpha flies.
Oh, yeah.
Which will consist of fishnet uppers with an unprecedented 10-inch stack height because bigger is sexier. The only stipulation is that everyone at the party yells at you until you are asked to leave. Confirmed. However, the following year, everyone else will be dressed as sexy racing shoes, which will all consist of fishnet uppers, 10-inch stack height, but with various non-Nike logos affixed, and everyone will get along fine. Also, Caster Semenya dunking on Earth Sports by medaling in the 5K would be chef's kiss exquisite. Till next time, that is Luke.
That's a good email.
Yeah, coming out strong, Luke. I guess we already broke the rule about not talking about alpha flies there.
I'm not going to say anything.
Chuck Norris club.
I know, I got like, when he does a push-up, he doesn't push up, he pushes the world down.
That's not true.
Chuck Norris.
Very good. Yeah, going as alpha flies for a Halloween costume, if it's a very runner-specific party, would be a good costume, I think. You don't have to comment on the shoes. You can just comment on the costume idea.
Do they actually dress as a giant
like one big shoe?
Foot?
Yeah. You're just like a foam, like you shove a whole bunch of foam in front of you.
Yeah.
You know how people like go as costumes of like, I don't know, like food items or something.
Yeah, like a giant,
I'm a Frosty or something.
Yeah.
I haven't dressed up for Halloween in 30 years.
I think we're going to have the sexy Corona Houston Astro Alpha Fly costume. Where they're wearing alpha flies, they're in a trash can, and they're dressed like Corona. That's going to be
interesting.
3 pop culture things in one.
I mean, listeners to this show probably wouldn't be able to understand that. I don't think anybody else would, but you're asking a lot from people. Keep the emails coming, FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com, because we need more topics. Remember, we're doing this show 5 days a week. We're going to bring it on the road on Thursday and Friday, but for the next 2 days, we'll be back here in the booth. Like I said before, you can subscribe. Gordon's putting his hand over his face. He's just ready to go.
Ready to go.
Subscribe. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc., etc. Watch it on FloTrack. All right.
We out.
Yeah, that's it.